Okay guys, and so the last video that we're going to be doing today is going to be the mass to mass. Okay, so mass to mass tends to be a bit of a longer one because it's a multi-step thing, and it's basically a combination of all the others we've done. So you have to take those other steps we've done and pretty much combine them and make it into a three-step problem. So in this one, let me start by giving you the generic version, which is going to be your mass of A. Okay. Setting up our conversion factor here, that's going to be molar mass of A down there. And this is going to be 1 mole of A. Okay. And then at this point, we're dropping the A and we're trying to change it into B. So that's going to be our mole ratio of mole B to mole of A. And again, this comes from the equation up there, so that should be these numbers come from up here. Okay. Now, at this point, we'll have gotten rid of all of the A's, and we want to change it now to B mass. So this would be molar mass of B. And this one should be 1 mole of B. And then when you're done, these cross and cancel, and then you'll end up with molar mass of B, so that means your answer will be now in mass of B. Okay, so we're going to use that generic here. And again, there's going to be some stuff you have to figure out as we go. So we're going to start off by saying that we're reacting a total of 93.4 grams of oxygen. And we would like to know how many grams of SO2 this is going to yield. Okay, so we want to know how much sulfur dioxide is going to come out of this. So we're going to take one of the products and change it into the reactant. But we have a mass to begin with, so we can't just straight go into the mass of B. We have to follow through the steps here. So we're going to need a few things that we're going to put first. So we're going to need, if you look right here, the molar mass of A. So this is A, this is B. So we should go ahead and figure out what is the molar mass of oxygen, diatomic oxygen, right? So that one we did earlier, but I'll show you again. It should be O2, or O, okay? There are 2 of them, times, and I believe that was 15.99. Yeah, that was correct. And then that is going to yield, or give me, a total of 31.98 grams of O2. Okay, so that's the molar mass of A. So we now know that. The mole ratio is going to come from here, so we should write down what that is. So mole of A is going to be 7 moles of O2. That comes from right here, because that's our A. And our mole of B is over here, so we need to figure that out. That's SO2, so we need to then use that number. That should be 4 moles of SO2. Okay. Now, so we're going to use these 2 conversions, but we're also going to need the molar mass of B. So that's sulfur dioxide, so we do the same thing here. So that should be our sulfur and oxygen. We multiply by how many there are. Okay, so sulfur, there is 1 in SO2, and there's 2 oxygens in SO2. And so for sulfur, that mass is 32.07. Again, I'm getting these numbers from the periodic table, so don't think that you have to have those things memorized. You should have a periodic table out so you can figure those out pretty easily. And then oxygen again was 15.99. So that's going to equal to 32.07. And this one should equal to 31.98 as well. And when you add these up, that's what's going to give us our molar mass. So I got a total of 64.05 grams of SO2. Okay, so now we have our 3 conversions. We have this, right? We have the mole ratio and we now have the molar mass of sulfur dioxide. So using that, now we can set the big problem up. So you see there's things you need before we can get to all this. So that is important that we understand how to get to this, how to get to that, and this one. So it's very important that we understand what molar mass is, the mole ratio, and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and set it up. So that's going to be 93.0 or 93.4, excuse me, grams of O2. Okay. We're going to set up our first conversion factor, which is 1 mole of O2. Okay, and for our mass, that was this number over here, 31.98 grams of O2. Okay. Now I'm not going to do the single step by step because when you have a long problem like this, you're going to end up with a lot of rounding. So you really don't want to be finding out, okay, let's find this answer out and then the next one, because by the time you're done, you're going to be rounded out and you might end up totally off from what you're supposed to get. So I'm going to show this one as a full long equation, and hopefully that'll help us get it all together. So here we have moles of O2. We use our mole ratio, and we write down the moles of O2 from the equation, which was this over here. That was 7 moles O2 for every 4 moles created of SO2. Okay, so now we have that. And then our final step was the molar mass of B. So molar mass of B molecule is SO2. So that means that's this over here. That goes on top because we need the answer to be in grams. So this should be 64.05 grams of SO2 to every 1 mole of SO2. That's our mole ratio. Okay, and from there, that is going to give us our answer. So before I get to the answer though, cancel out. That's opposite, that's opposite. Moles of O2, moles of O2, grams of O2, grams of O2. So you see everything cancels out nice and neatly, and now it becomes a problem of plugging it into the calculator. So I would take 93.4 times 1 divided by 31.98 times 4 divided by 7 times 64.05. Using those numbers, you should be able to come up with an answer. So I'll give you a second if you want to pause it and plug this into your calculator and make sure you're getting the right answer. But the correct answer that I received was 106.89. And what is my unit now? That would be in grams of sulfur dioxide. And so you see we went from mass of 1, okay, in this case it was O2, to the mass of another. And so now there's our final complete answer. Okay, so again, I like to do these all at once. If you feel like you're going to do that, just be mindful of the rounding. Because if you rounded this answer, that's going to give you something else, and then you're going to round whatever you get after the multiply by 4, and then round again, and round again. So you're going through multiple sets of rounding, right? At least 4. And that's going to give, you could end up with an answer of 105 or 104, which is not close. So you need to make sure you get used to plugging all this all in at once. Because finding out this answer and then multiplying and dividing and then finding that answer, it's going to be too much. So hopefully that helps kind of lay it out so you can work on that, on those extra problems and figure out how those are meant to be done. Okay?